Our food's being poisoned. Rent is skyrocketing. House prices are doing the exact same thing. They are astronomical. We're living in an age now that's technology driven. We see all kinds of data centers being posted up and built out in the country. We see the advancement of artificial intelligence. We see on the news every day the fear of robots taking over the world, taking out the workforce, and replacing average Joe workers. Today, everything is so much faster than it was even 5 or 10 years ago. Things are moving at an exorbitant rate forward into the age of technology. And we see that there is a pushback against that. People are looking to the past for encouragement. We see things like tiny house lifestyles, tiny house living, van life, and things of that nature just gaining in popularity. People are selling what they were sold as the American dream or the Canadian dream or European dream. These people buying vans, trailers, and RVs, hitting the road to go for a more simpler life. We see people buy little plots of land, build tiny houses and small little dwellings to regain the foothold into nature. Not only has rent prices increased, housing prices increased, gas prices increased, everything is increasing while wages are decreasing, it seems. We don't know what's in our food, and if we do know, we're told that it's not good for us. People want to know what is in their food. They want to go back to the way of living that our forefathers did, growing their own food in the garden and knowing what's in that food. Health and wellness is on a lot of people's minds these days. When you have your own garden and you know what's going into your food, it can create a sense of relief as opposed to going to the grocery store and buying who knows what that was grown in who knows what kind of ways. People want to take part in how they raise their meat that they're going to be feeding to themselves and their family, to be making sure that it's raised in a humane way, that it's not bleached with chemicals. People want to know what goes into their food, whether it be raising chickens, raising cows, or anything in between. There's a pushback happening, and that pushback is by the people that grow their own food, start their own homesteads, and want to live a more simple and sustainable life. They definitely aren't making it easy though, from rules and regulations, from hoops you have to jump through, and building codes that you have to follow. It is far from the way that our grandfathers and forefathers used to go about building their homesteads. If you could dream it and build it, then go ahead and do it. It used to be the motto. But that is so far from the truth. You need to have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to purchase your land, to be able to pay the taxes on that land, and not to mention everything else in between. When everybody is focused on technology and the almighty dollar, it's hard to have a community of like-minded people to help one another like it was back in the day. One person would grow vegetables, one person would raise meat, one person would go fishing. They would all trade and barter between each other to make sure that everybody was surviving and thriving back in the day. It is so far from that now that communities don't know their neighbors. People don't wave to anybody anymore. Such simple things as holding the door for people almost becomes a foreign activity. I hear stories of past gatherings of families, friends, relatives, and communities of people gathering in the 50s, hundreds, and thousands for community events, for community festivals. Everybody knew each other. Everybody helped out one another. And you could go knock on your neighbor's door for a cup of sugar without being berated. We're being told that we're at the pinnacle of civilization, that no other civilization has been better than we are today. And I think that it's just the opposite. We're actually on the decline. If we look back at our ancestors and our relatives, they're the ones that were the pinnacle, where family values held true. They were God-fearing people, men and women. Their children were raised with respect. People knew what it meant to be community-driven and family-focused. Hard work wasn't shied away from. It's interesting and it's cool to see that the old school mentality of things is coming back. How more people want to get back into nature, get back working with their hands, learn how to get back to these essential skills of gardening and building, knowing what goes in your food, and knowing how to raise these things to have a healthy family. Next time you're into the grocery store, just take a look in the vegetable and fruit section to see how many things are grown nowadays without seeds. Imagine for those people who do gardening that it wasn't possible to gain seeds to do your gardening. People that grow their own food need these things to be able to have the life that they've been dreaming of and to take control of the food that they've been feeding their families. But if the seeds aren't there, how are the people going to be able to do this? Well, this is exactly what they want. They want to be able to have full control of everything. They don't want people like us being able to grow our own food and being able to have that control. They want people to be self-reliant on going to the grocery store and being forced to buy the food that they have prepared. 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, these foods are grown with pesticides and chemicals that are absolutely horrible for your body. I think even if you're not interested in off-grid life or homestead living, I still think there's some essential skills that everybody should know. Some skills like carpentry and woodworking to be able to build things to last, unlike these particle board things that you buy at IKEA for hundreds if not thousands of dollars. I think that people should be growing vegetables and orchards like there were back in the day. The statistics on how many people had apple trees and vegetable gardens, even as close to as 50 to 75 years ago, almost everybody and their neighbor had a vegetable garden and an orchard in their backyard. They were self-reliant on themselves, on what they could grow and what they could barter. And in turn, the health that they were feeding their family was controlled by them. I think people should be looking into what sort of medicinal plants and herbs are literally on the side of the road that could be foraged to fix so many different ailments. Not to mention only medicinal plants, but there are so many forageable plants out there that are actually edible and that are good for you. But all these things were known by our ancestors and our grandfathers and forefathers. And over time, they've been passed down, but at a certain point, they've been stopped passing down this knowledge because the generation after them wasn't interested in knowing this information. Well, I hope y'all are having an absolutely fantastic day out there. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Maybe like the video, share it, hype it. Helps the algorithm, send it out to more people, and helps the channel continue to grow. And even if you're not interested in the off-grid homesteading life, maybe you're not interested in gardening and you're content in just where you are right now, that's absolutely fine. But always just keep an open mind into listening about certain things. This stuff is happening out there all around us, and it's for a reason, without getting too much into the conspiracy theory idea of things. But when you start looking and actually diving into the rabbit hole of how things are produced, processed, and taken care of nowadays, it is so far different than what it was years and years ago, and it's definitely not for the better. So this is just Adam here signing off from another video back here at the old 12 by 12 tiny cabin in the woods, and we'll see y'all back here for another episode very soon. God bless y'all. See ya.